one thing I'm practicing today is doing this without any sort of roll up. So just stopping about that far in front of it, you know, like you might encounter on the trail if you end up in front of a rock face or something that that you really can't get any run up on. And so it's a lot trickier. That doesn't count. All right, my camera overheated right after that fail, so I didn't get the chance to explain what happened. I know exactly what happened. The problem was I failed to transfer my weight forward. So there's a fine balance between keeping the rear end weighted so that you can drive up the obstacle and not lose traction, and being far forward enough to actually get the bike to finish the move. If you stay back, the bike's going to leave you behind, and you're just going to have to kind of bail off like I did. You know, if you stay back like that, you're going to ghost your bike or just crash. So you really have to transfer your body forward. Don't transfer your weight forward. You're still driving your weight into the foot peg. That way you're keeping traction down on the ground. And so if I'm starting out on the ground and I'm starting with my foot planted because my balance isn't that great. So you trials guys, don't laugh at me too hard. But so I'm starting with my foot planted, doing the wheelie with my foot planted, getting the front wheel onto the obstacle, and as my front wheel kind of makes contact, I'm getting my foot onto the peg, and then transferring my weight forward as well, or I should say transferring my body. That transfer of my body to the front of the bike is actually going to help me keep the rear weighted as well, because I'm kind of pulling myself forward on the on the handlebars. I'm not really, you don't have to think about pulling on the handlebars. It's just going to happen naturally. So I'm bringing myself forward, and I'm really trying to think about sending the rear tire into the bottom of the obstacle to sort of rebound to the top. And by my body being forward over the handlebars, I can then kind of, push myself away from the handlebars to bring the front end down, and I will stay on top of the platform with the bike and not get left behind. So that's, it sounds simple, execution, as you can see, is a different matter. Just gonna take some practice. So anyway, that's gonna be a wrap for today. Hopefully you guys learn from this in some way, and or just otherwise entertained by it. I know I'm having fun out here in the heat. It's a different kind of fun, I guess, but no, it's awesome. And thanks again for the tire suggestion for the top lip. All right, see you guys. Hey, I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I built this attachment on this deck here and made it taller. So that's a 6x6 at the top that I added, and I added about, what is a 6x6? 5.5. And that, believe it or not, makes a pretty big difference in difficulty. When I built this thing, I built it to withstand forces being directed into it from the front like this. And this failed immediately, first time I went up it, because I did not build it to withstand forces of the rear tire biting for traction and applying forces in that direction. So let that be a lesson. If you're building some backyard stuff, you know, build it for both directions, because there's a huge amount of force that's being applied to the wheel to, you know, to move the bike forward. So don't underestimate that. And you can see here, you know, I had a couple screws, one right there, kind of in there at an angle, and one over there. But other than that, these little screws on these braces are all basically all that was holding it from that kind of force. So fail. So that's disappointing, because now I can't go for this again. And I probably can't go for this one either, because now I got sharp screws poking out everywhere. So that's not exactly safe. I'm still gonna go for that one though. Didn't catch the brake on camera, but I'll film a couple goes at this. I probably can't film long, because in direct sunlight and this heat, I can only film for a few minutes before this camera overheats.